A group of swimmers isn't giving up on a 50-meter pool at the Vancouver Aquatic Centre, and they're taking their fight to the province's top court. On Monday, the group filed a petition for judicial review in the Supreme Court of British Columbia. It concerns the Vancouver Park Board decision last spring to renovate the existing Olympic-sized pool to one just half its size. That plan is not supported by swim teams and some other members of the public, including our next guest. Jon Girard is the director of Protecting Our Vancouver Aquatic Centre Society and is in our studio this morning. Jon, good morning.
Thanks, Chris. Good morning.
So can you just outline the petition, the argument it makes, and what you're hoping to accomplish here?
Yeah, so our petition is seeking what's known as certiorari, which is the quashing of approvals in the Supreme Court of BC by a judge.
Okay, and why? What's the legal argument you're making here?
So one of our primary legal arguments in this case is around the undemocratic nature of the approvals. So we're alleging that the Vancouver Board of Parks and Recreation acted in what is known as ultra vires capacity. So that's a Latin term used quite often in legal proceedings, and it means beyond their authority.
Okay, and here's my understanding of it, and you can please correct me if I'm wrong, but this has to do with bylaw 245, right? And if you borrow money, if you get the assent in a referendum or what have you from electors to borrow money, you have to. The bylaw says, quote, with further assent of the electors, you can borrow money for the purposes specified in the question during the period specified in the question. So your argument is what? They borrowed the money on one premise and then changed that premise when they came to build the project. Do I have that right?
Yeah, exactly what you're saying there. So Section 245 of the Vancouver Charter, with respect to Section 258, specifies that debenture proceeds may only be allowed for voter-approved purposes. Right. And the 2022 capital plan plebiscite question, the detailed plebiscite package used specific 50-meter pool renewal verbiage.
Okay, so you can't borrow money for one thing and spend it on another, is the basic argument.
Correct.
All right. What's wrong with the 25-meter pool? Like, that's the sort of legal argument. What's the problem with the pool?
So the problem with a 25-meter pool, specifically at the Vancouver Aquatic Centre, would be the significant displacement of all of the current user groups. So swim clubs, swim teams, the general public, swim lessons, aquafit would be some of the member groups affected by that switch to a 25-meter pool. Because with a 25-meter pool, not only is it shorter, the lanes are actually somewhat narrower as well. So not only would you essentially end up with half a pool, it would actually be even less than that somewhat because of the narrower lanes. Currently, the VAC has some of the widest lanes for a 50-meter pool available. And for anyone who swims, you know that swimming in a 50-meter pool, there's no comparison. It would be like asking the Vancouver Canucks to train on half a hockey rink, basically. So for any swim teams or competitive swimmers, it puts them at a significant disadvantage because their own home training ground is less than all of their competitors.
Right. How long has this been going on? How long have you been involved, and how long has this debate been happening?
So this has been going on essentially since February of 2025, if we're just talking the approval process. The public were notified essentially 10 days in advance of the initial hearing. Prior to that, consultants had been engaged for 18 months without much or any public input whatsoever. So it sort of caught everyone off guard because everyone thought they were getting this 50-meter pool, and then suddenly it's, oh, the plan has changed.
And you called it undemocratic, but City Council voted 10-2 in favor of this smaller pool plan. This judicial review is going to cost your organization money. You're raising money for that from the public, but it's also going to cost the public taxpayers money to, I assume, to defend that in court or to have lawyers review it. When do you just say, well, okay, we lost this one and move on?
We're not willing to say that because this was not only undemocratic. This was This was negligent. There was lack of due diligence throughout this entire process. So this is a significant expenditure to taxpayers, $170 million for a facility that doesn't even have a 50-meter pool. For comparison, UBC built their aquatic facility back in 2017 for only $39.9 million. It contains a 50-meter pool, a 25-meter pool, a hot tub, a diving tank, all the leisure amenities, right? So you have to question, like, what went wrong here? Why is this such a significant expenditure for so little?
I've never filed a judicial review. You're doing it. What happens next? Walk us through the process here.
Yeah, so we filed the review as of Monday. It was served to the respondents, and they will now have an opportunity to respond, to formulate their own response. And then from there, essentially our hearings will be scheduled, and generally that's months out. Our Supreme Court hearing would be months out.
And then what happens after that hearing? Who makes the decision? How long does that take?
So the hearing would be heard by a Supreme Court of BC judge, and they would be ruling on the outcome.
Really good to have you in this morning. Thanks very much for laying the argument out for us.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Jon Girard is the director of Protecting Our Vancouver Aquatic Centre Society. We did contact the Vancouver Park Board for a response to the petition. They said, quote, "Staff are currently reviewing the petition and will be filing a response. We are not able to comment further at this time," unquote.